got a little conservation project going here on the Central Coast, not far from Sydney, about an hour north of Sydney. This beautiful saltwater creek that runs through here. And part of what's been getting in the way of my little conservation project is this asparagus weed, or asparagus fern it sometimes gets called. I think it's mainly asparagus weed they call it. And while I don't just write off introduced plants, a lot of them are incredibly useful. This one is particularly invasive and will outcompete plants such as the native spinach that we've got going in this area, which had suffered local extinction in this particular area. And I've been running a little conservation project slash bit of natural farming to bring it back to this area where it's grown, I don't know, probably for millions of years. It's really important to note, first and foremost, that this has really high levels of oxalic acid or oxalate crystals in it, and can cause things like gout, kidney stones, and other inflammatory issues. But if you boil it twice, it can do quite the opposite of that. In New Zealand, some of the Maori call it kohihi, and they use it as an anti-inflammatory on their elders just once a year, so they don't have it too often, probably due to some of the remaining oxalate crystals in there, or oxalic acid. So I boil it twice in one change of water to get rid of some of those harmful chemical constituents in there. And I also, when I'm foraging for this, instead of pulling it straight up, and this is really important for the people at home, you know, first and foremost, please don't go out just foraging things unless you know exactly what you're doing. You could find a poisonous lookalike, or you could find out you're the first person that finds out they're allergic to the plant. But when we forage this one, I'm not going to take this leaf off for no reason. You twist it off rather than pull it from the stem, because you can pull the very shallow roots out of it. And I actually saw a few people foraging for this down here. Some people came from Sydney actually to forage for it, which I was happy to know they were doing that. But the way they were pulling it out, they ended up pulling out the roots, and although I told them to twist off the leaves so you're not pulling out those shallow roots, I think they may have just kept doing it the way that they were doing it, which led to the local extinction of this, until I started reintroducing it to from an area not far from here. And it's now thriving along here, and there's also another spot there where it's going quite well. In amongst it, you've got some scurvy weed there. Can you guys all see that? Called scurvy weed, they reckon, because James Cook, when he came past here in 1770, fed it to some of the crew of the Endeavour. It's meant to be high in vitamin C. It's also got oxalate crystals in that as well, so it's probably worth, if you're going to have a lot of that, to boil it up. But again, don't go trying this stuff at home unless you really know what you're doing. I obviously run courses. If you go to jakecassarbushcraft.com, you can learn how to do this sustainably, safely, and you can get out there and enjoy what nature has to offer without just taking from nature, but also absolutely giving back, like we've done here with this little conservation project.